everybody. We're excited that you guys are here. So what we're going to be talking about is maximizing student support. So I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a little brief of where we're actually located. So we are in San Bernardino. So it's about 60 miles from Los Angeles, more or less, give or take. Perfect. And I wanted to go ahead and tell you guys what our demographics are. So Hispanic, we have about 70% that are our students. We also have white is about 25%. African American, we have about 12%. And for Native American is about 2%, and Asian about 4%. So it'll kind of give you an idea more or less. All right. There we go. Perfect. So I just wanted to go in and let you know who I was. So like I said, my name is Jose Beltran, and I work in our student transition center, and I am the technician, and also I work part-time. I also teach. So I get to go ahead and see everything from that teacher lens, if that makes sense. And so I'm really excited, and I'm gonna go ahead and have Teresa introduce herself to you.
Good afternoon. Thanks for being here once again. I know it's hard to be here at the end of the day, so we appreciate you. I'm Teresa Ramos. I am the head counselor at our adult school. I've been with the district in K-12 was there for about 19 years, and I've been at the adult school for about 2 years. So I'm fairly new to adult education, but I'm loving it, and having the experience of the K-12 has really helped to kind of, be able to service our adults in some ways like we service our K-12 students.
Perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys a little bit about who we serve. So our students are over the age of 18, and our vision is to empower and inspire individuals through education. Our mission statement is we are pretty much the bridge to a post-secondary education and the workforce. So I'm going to go ahead and explain to you some of the programs that we have. So some of the programs that we have are the English as a second language, and we have 4 levels. We also have citizenship classes. For academics, we have GED and high school diploma as well. For some of the career technical educations we have certified nurse assistant. We have our vocational nursing. We have barber apprentice. If you can see the picture right there, we have a partnership with Stater Brothers, and we also we have functional basic skills, and we pretty much have students with intellectual delays. All right, Teresa, we'll go ahead and explain the rest.
So our objective for today is to hopefully share with you guys how we choose and build partnerships with the community providers and the educational institutions in our district or in our area, and then be able to talk to you guys about different strategies or initiatives that we have on campus that really help us serve the whole student in taking care of the multiple needs that a human has versus just their academics. So in 23-24, we had over 5,000 students registered at our school, at our site. And in our academic program, we had almost 1,400. The majority, over half, were women. So it's nice to see them coming back and, for whatever reason that they're here to finish up their education. We, about 20% are there because they're wanting to get a job. And then almost half trying to get a better job. Our site does have where our gains are almost double the state goal. So, and this is all it's been a long journey. And so this has not always been the case, but we're super excited that this is what what our results are. We had about 130 students in our academic program graduate last year. So that's about 10% of the ones that are enrolled. So obviously we want that to get higher, and we want to be much better than that. But for right now, that's what we got. At our site, just like I'm sure all of you guys have at your sites, we have students who are coming onto our campus with undiagnosed mental health, learning disabilities, students who have just recently been released from being incarcerated. We work with multiple transition shelters in our area, so halfway homes, domestic violence shelters, and those types of programs. We have a large migrant community in our area, and so they all have different issues. of course, along with work and families and all those things, right? So those are all challenges in some situations, and then having to navigate and help our students. How do you meet all of your personal needs along with adding school onto your plate, right? I do talk fast, so if I need to slow down, let me know. Our journey started in 2019 when we realized, like, okay, we're doing okay, but we want to be better than okay. And so at that point, what they did is they started doing trainings with staff on self-care, self-management, self-awareness. Our population is obviously not easy, right? You guys know there's struggles and they've got a lot of things going on. And so we realized that if we help our staff and we take care of our staff and they learn how to take care of themselves, then they're going to do a much better job taking care of our students. And so they're going to have that energy and that awareness to be able to regulate themselves as they deal with students on our campus. Since then, what we did is we had some consultants come in and work with our staff. They did multiple trainings that first year, and then they come in and follow up every year after that, all around social emotional learning for themselves. And then we have other trainings that's for where they're working with the students. So all of this was for our staff. What we've realized is that the whole sense of community that we want with our students, we had to start it with our staff. And so we do things. It's a very fun staff. It's amazing. I love working there. We do potlucks regularly, like we find any reason to have a potluck. And we do holiday celebrations. For Christmas, we did the most festive hat. And that was like our afternoon. We had a holiday celebration, did that. We had, for Halloween, we had a costume contest. We have this really big like conference room. Our students came in, staff came in, and different departments were dressed like in different themes. And so it's really neat to be able to join with our students in some of those events and celebrations that we have, so that they see our teachers out of the classroom and see us outside of just our regular, work role, right? So some of the stuff that our staff, and we included all of our staff, so it was classified and certificated staff in all of these trainings, things like growth mindset, reframing, when you're working with our students, things like that. Our main goal in that is making sure that our students felt welcome, that they felt heard and valued, and that we were building relationships with them. If we think about the fact that our students come as adults to come and get their high school diploma, come and learn English for whatever reason that they're there, a lot of times they don't have a good history with an educational institution. And they've had challenges and barriers, and so they're coming in already defensive with walls up. And so for us to be able to reach them, we needed to make sure that we had a welcoming environment. We take pride in that. We have meetings, all staff meetings on Monday afternoons, and we take pride in that. We had a student walk in, and he's walking around and can't find anybody. So the custodian was there. I mean, the ladies at the front office didn't see him go by, so he came in. And so the custodian asked if he can help him. He's like, oh, yes, I needed to find out how to register and, whatever. So he comes into our meeting, the custodian does, grabs one of our administrators, takes him out. Our student was able to get their question answered. And so we always want to make sure that a student doesn't walk out of our building without their questions answered, and that their needs are met as much as we can meet them while they're there with us. So as we were looking at partners, so like I said, we were doing okay, but we wanted to be better. And so as there's been this, you all, I'm sure know, there's this initiative to just make sure that we are servicing the whole student. Incorporating wellness services onto our campus was important. They were doing it in K-12, and so we have some amazing administrators that were like, hey, we want that too. Like, we need to do that for our students. Our students need it just like the K-12 students. And so there was a big push to do that from our administrators. And so what we did is we looked at what agencies or educational institutions had visions, missions that aligned with ours. And so we initially started with reaching out to community providers that we knew were already servicing our students, because they were serving those that were low income, those that, were on public assistance, those that, didn't have a high school diploma, things like that. So we were already overlapping in this people that we were servicing anyway. So we did that. We surveyed our students at registration and looked at what services would they like to see on our campus. And so we found that many of our students hadn't been to the doctor in years. Some of them hadn't been to the dentist in a long time. And of course, it was after COVID. Actually, it started in 2019, so right before COVID, and then after COVID, it got much worse, right? With the whole mental health needs. A lot of them, weren't in school because they needed childcare, and so that was a big ask. So we started looking at all those things, the information they were giving us, and started looking at who do we reach out to. We have community providers that will reach out to us, and they'll want an MOU and they'll want a partnership. And we are very picky about who we choose to service our students. We want to make sure that they're people that are going to treat our students well, that when I say go here, that student is going to have their needs met, they're going to have their questions answered, and they're going to service them the way we would service them on our campus. And so, we don't always say yes. We wanted to make sure that our partners were people that were willing to give us feedback, that they were open to feedback and suggestions, and that we were going to be communicating on a regular basis. So we meet with our community partners about 3 to 4 times a year, and we go over what's gone well, what do we need to change, and what do we continue doing? And so those are just constant questions that we're always asking ourselves. For example, we have a community provider who provides mental health services to our students. We refer them, they get priority. And so we found that a lot of our students were uninsured. And so we had been told that they would help them apply for Medi-Cal, right? And so we found that that wasn't actually happening with our students. They were charging them they were charged on a low income scale. And so we went ahead and talked to them, and they were like, oh, okay, yeah, that shouldn't have been happening. You're right, that's what we told you. So we have to make sure it's a collaborative relationship, and that you are really holding up to what you said you were going to do for our students. And so we've been really lucky in that they have been open. And here's the bottom line is, that's a federally qualified clinic that when I'm talking about, they need patients and our students need services. So they're benefiting and our students are benefiting. We have a lot of those services on our campus. So we have a room for our students that have virtual mental health services. We have a mobile medical and dental unit that come onto our campus 2 times a month. So they get, that ends up being there 4 times because of the dental and the mobile unit. And we have a lot of other partners, but they're providing services on our campus for our students. Our partnerships with the local educational institutions, we are in this area where it's really kind of nice. We have universities, private universities, community college, all within 5-10 miles from us. And so we were able to build partnerships with them. So for example, with our own district, although, obviously our funding is different and so we don't get everything they get, but they were willing to, and all we had to do was ask. So we've learned ask. If you don't ask, you're not going to get anything. So we just go ahead and ask all the time. And so our Edmentum, which is our digital curriculum, we don't pay for that because our K-12 district pays for that. And the Brain Fuse, which is an online tutoring program, same thing. They're paying for it and they were willing to let us utilize that. We have a family engagement department in our district, and so we are using their space to provide classes on K-12 campuses. There's a McKinney-Vento, which is our foster care and homeless students. And so there's an actual office in our district. And so we were able to figure out how do we get our current students who were either in foster care or homeless when they were in school, be able to qualify for that reduction in credits. And so we were able to build that system. And so our students do get that benefit. We have a medical center, and they also provide mental health services to our students. It's their PhD doctoral students, clinical psychology students that actually provide the service, and our students pay $10 a session. So, and if it's really hard on them, they'll go down to $5. We have interns on our campus. We have social work and counseling interns who are able to do presentations for us and organize events and things of that nature through the local university. And then, of course, with our community college, we have dual enrollment. They hold 2 college classes on our campus, so our students are getting an idea of what is it like to take a college class. And so these are all partnerships that, of course, are servicing our students, and then also getting them onto the college campuses is really helpful because then they're able to see what a college campus actually looks like. A lot of them come in thinking like, I'm just gonna go get my high school diploma because I need a job. And so once we expose them to many of these things, then they're like, oh, okay, I can go, oh, that class, that wasn't that hard. And so it's just the exposure that we really want them to have. These are the community agencies, some of the ones I was talking to you guys about. So the mobile clinics, we have a local high school who has a resource center, and we work very closely with them. They have clothes, food, diapers, wipes. They will also sometimes bring like racks of clothes onto our campus. And so our students are able to walk in and just pick out whatever clothes they want and they can take it. So we refer our students who are going to interviews, going to new jobs, whatever it is that they might need a new wardrobe for or a new set of clothes and professional looking clothes, then we send them there. We also have our local health plan. There's a navigator who's kind of like a case manager. And so she's able to help our students navigate their insurance plan, be able to pick a doctor, make sure there's a dentist nearby because they're taking the bus and they don't have to go all over town or whatever it might be. We found agencies that were WIOA funded already. And so we were able to build a partnership with them, have them pay for the CTE courses that our students were taking. So when students show up and they're like, well, I want to be in your CNA or your LVN program, and they start asking about money, we always refer them over to Operation New Hope because we want to make sure that, you know, they're getting their needs met, and if they're having a hard time, see what kind of help they can get. We have a partnership with our scholarship associations. And so right now we have about $15,000 in scholarships that go specifically to our students. And so a lot of our students don't really realize that that even exists. They just think they're gonna have to figure it out in FAFSA or whatever else it might be. And so we're able to prep them for that. We help them with their portfolio, writing their resume, applying for financial aid and whatever it might be. So our idea when we were bringing these resources on our campus was we wanted to be pretty much a community school model. Our students are comfortable, they're familiar with our staff and our space, and so if we bring a partner onto our campus, into our space, they know that we trust them. So to get somebody to go for mental health services, you know, to the town over, or to travel 15 minutes away, it's gonna be a lot more challenging to get them there than to get them onto our campus and to have that appointment. And so being able to do that really has increased the use of services for our students, and their needs are being met. Things like not having to travel, not having to wait for an appointment for a month, especially with mental health, and things like that. So we always want to make sure that we give our students a name as to who we're referring them to and who they're going to meet on our campus or whatever it might be, so that they're not just like, oh, this is a person, but they actually have a name and that's who they're going to ask for.
All right, so here we go. So I'm going to go ahead and talk to you guys where I actually work at. So I work in our Student Transition Center. So I pretty much call it the hub, the heart of the school. Once you're in there, I pretty much am treating you like family. I want to make sure that you have a smooth transition. So some of the different resources that we have in there, we have more than anything, we have a connection with Valley College. So what it is we have college counselors that come. So once our students are ready to transition to college, what we do is we have 3 counselors. So they come on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. They will go ahead and schedule an appointment, and they help them out throughout the whole process. They help them out with the financial aid. They help them out with their orientation. So what it is, it's 45-minute increments consultation. And then from there, they even, once they're at the campus, they help them out with, hey, where are your classes going to be at? So I feel like that's very beneficial because not a lot of people have that type of partnership. And we get asked that a lot. How did you guys even create this partnership? It's a very beneficial for our students. Another thing that we're very big is on our academic supports. So like she mentioned earlier, so what we do is we have tutors that come from Cal State University, San Bernardino, and we have about 6 of them, and they're a lot of help. Especially you'll find out a lot of the information of whom is our students that are coming for. You're going to realize it's actually academic supports. So I like to be very transparent and honest with our students and say, hey, I might not be your best math person, but you know what? I have 2 math majors that come from Cal State that can go and help you and support you, right? Because we have to be transparent with our students. Also, what we also do is we help them out with their registration. So a lot of that academic support, they have it in there. Another big thing that we do, and you'll see here as well, is I actually have a employment opportunity board. So what it is We make sure that any job that's available for our students, I make sure that I let them know, hey, look at our job board, look at our community board for the information, because a lot of the time it's that unknown. So for example, I did not know that they were hiring. Oh, I didn't even know this place was even open. Oh, what? I didn't know that they provided diapers. Oh, I did not know that they had these services. So for me, it's a very important, because I've been at that end where I need assistance or I need help. So I'm like, giving them the information to me is the best thing. And more than anything, it's building that relationship with them to make sure that they have the resources and everything that they need. So what we do is we post it every week and everything is current. So we do a lot of that, and I feel like that's a very important for our students, especially to support them with that aspect. Also, what we do is we help them out with technology support. So we have Tech Fridays. A lot of the common questions that our students might have is, hey, I can't get into the program. Hey, I forgot my username and my password. So they'll come and we'll go ahead and help them out. We actually have a lab inside there as well. We are also a GD Pearson VUE test site. So I think that's a very big, especially for us, because what it is not only can our students finish their program here, they can also test. So how convenient is that? And then I'll give you a little bit more information on that, why it's so beneficial and why we have a lot of students that come through our Student Transition Center specifically for GED. Resources, like I said, community board, employment lead, and one that we have that I actually absolutely love, and I'll just go ahead and give you very brief, is our shout out board. So as soon as you come into our Student Transition Center, on the right side, we have the board. And let me tell you, that board is probably the #1 seen board out of all the boards. And I'm going to tell you why, because it encourages and it motivates our students. A lot of the times, a lot of our students are going through difficult situations. So when I see a shout out that says, hey, I did it, you can do it as well. Hey, I'm on my 3rd GD test. I have 1 more to go. Hey, I'm transitioning. I'm first generation going to college. Thank you for the support. Hey, thank you so much for the resources that you guys have. I thank you so much for this place to even be open, because not a lot of places have a transition center. So a lot of that stuff has to do, and more than anything else, it's just making it welcoming, making sure that people feel welcome, that people feel like, you know what, I want to get heard. I have a situation. Sometimes that's what it is. They just want to get heard because they're going through stuff. Because remember, now they're adults, right? So a lot of it has to do with that too. And also at our transition center, so it's myself, and we also have, her name is Maria Zamora, and she's our community resource worker. So her job is to make sure that she builds those connections to the resources. We do a lot of in-house stuff. So we have, for example, the 3 Cs, which is an event that we have, which is for college, community, and the careers. So we do a lot of that stuff for our students to make sure. And then we also have Nancy Tissue. She also helps out with the computers. She is one of the proctors also for Pearson VUE, and she helps out with all of the job leads for our medical department. And another big thing that we do is we help out our students with our resumes. And that is so important, because a lot of them, let's be very honest, they only do 1 resume and they apply for 10 different positions. And what's the reality is, you tailor the resume to the job that you're applying for. And I mean, let's be honest too. Our students, when it's interview time, they get very nervous. So I let them know they're people just like you and I. So just make sure that at the end of the day, hey, if they were to ask you, if there's 7 candidates and I only have 1 position, why should I select you over the other candidates? Make sure you have an answer. Do not freeze. And at the end of the day, market yourself, make yourself valuable. At the end of the day, let them know that you're interested and you want that job. So to me, all these things are very important, and that's what helps out. And more than anything, it's building those relationships. So I'm pretty big. San Bernardino is one of the biggest, second, third largest, biggest districts. So I make sure that, hey, if there's a position and our students are eligible for, let's do that. Build those partnerships with the people. What are you guys looking for? So when they go and interview, these are the same questions. The district asked me, yeah, because I called and I asked. I said, how is it? How's the whole process? And they would let me know. So it's just building that relationship for our students. All right. And then where I was telling you guys about, what was it? So this is an idea for you guys to go ahead and get more or less what our students are coming for. Yes, question. They are the students and they shout out anything. They will shout out a student. They will shout out a service. They will shout out. We had a student, so we're in San Bernardino. Las Vegas is about 3 hours, almost 4 hours. So we have a person that comes specifically to test at our site. And she did a shout out, and I said, "You're coming from Las Vegas?" She said, "Yes." She goes, "Because," she goes, "you guys, the level of service that you guys provide, it feels like home." She goes, "I wouldn't want to go test anywhere else." She goes, "So I'll drive 3 hours and 30 minutes just to come test with you guys." Yes. It's actually in our building. So literally, as soon as you come in, it'll say our Student Transition Center. So it's like the one-stop shop. It's the heart of the school. Um, if I don't have an answer for you, I will find the answer for you. I will talk to somebody to give you that information. So Valley College is what, like 5 miles or less?
And so we're right on the corner, and so we have, like, we're currently building a partnership with another clinic, and they're a mile from us. So they're closer than what we currently have, which is why we were open to that partnership. Cal State San Bernardino is, I think you guys can hear me from here.
Good. Okay.
Cal State San Bernardino is probably about 7 miles from us. So there isn't anybody that, I think the furthest one is Loma Linda, and they're 12 miles. So everybody is within, there's buses, we make sure that there's buses that will take them to anywhere that we have a partnership with. And then, like I said, what we try to do is they can go to that clinic, but it's further away. That's why we have their mobile clinic on our campus. Twice a month is the medical, and twice a month is the dental. So our students will ask, well, when's the next time they're coming? And we have it posted on the community board so they know. And if they want to make sure they're going to be seen, they make an appointment that they take walk-ins also. But everybody is just really close. So those are some of the things that we're looking at as we're looking at what partnerships we're building.
Sure. So here, as you can see, 80%. So out of the 100, of the total students that came in, 80% are our students and 20% are not. So these are our GD testers through Pearson VUE. So what I realize is that we have a lot of traffic that is pretty much not our students. So what we started to go ahead and do is we started to advertise, hey, did you know that we had these, do you know that, well, first of all, when they first come, they think we are just a GD Pearson VUE test site. So as soon as they come, they're like, wow, this place is huge. They're like, so what kind of classes do you guys offer? What kind of programs do you guys have? So I've actually utilized that to go ahead and say, you know what? This is advertisement. This is a form to go ahead and market ourselves. And guess what? When they're coming in testing, what do you think is the number one subject that they're having a hard time with? It's at math. And guess what? We have 2 tutors who are majoring in math. And guess what? We have 4 teachers that are really good. We have Math Boot Camp. We have all these different programs and supports for them that we're like, hey, let's go ahead and do it. So what ends up happening is a lot of times they start signing up and they're like, you know what? I want to be part of the school. I want to go ahead. I need that support. I need that help. But it takes that person to go ahead and say, hey, did you guys know, by the way? Hey, did you know that we have these, we have all this that we offer? They're like, no, we just thought you were a test site. They're like, but now, they're like, and then they let other people know. So a lot of word of mouth brings a lot of students in. Another thing, so it's that 20%. So as you can see, and another thing too is GD for our testing. We are one of the test sites that is open the longest. So we are open from Tuesdays to Fridays. So some sites you'll probably find maybe once a month, twice a month. So when I have people coming from Las Vegas, coming from Barstow, coming from further out, it's like you guys have the most availability, so I can't beat it. And then you guys actually help out with the classes. What I can actually go ahead and register. So you know what? Let me go ahead and do it. So that just gives you an idea. And like we said, academics is pretty much more than half. And it gives you an idea. And like I said, Valley College is a big part of why we're always so busy in our transition center, because we have a lot of appointments. We have 3 counselors and it stays pretty busy in there, and we like it like that. Right.
So our tutors that work, that are from the local university and work in the transition center, they're on federal work study. And so the university pays half of their salary, and then our district pays the other half. So it's mutually beneficial, right? So once again, looking at, and a lot of the students that come and apply to be tutors with us are future teachers. And they actually are getting hired in our district because now they have the reference of already working for our district. And so it's just a really nice transition, not just for our students, but even people that are coming from the local universities. So in our counseling department, we want to make sure that our students are getting not just a GED or a high school diploma, but as much as we can, that they're having the high school experience that they missed out on. So your students that come back to school didn't go to grad night, didn't, actually get to participate in a graduation, never wore a cap and gown, didn't go to prom, all of those kinds of things. And so when our students are getting close to graduating, we remind them, hey, we have a graduation ceremony. We have a winter and then a spring graduation ceremony. They're able, we provide the cap and gown because obviously we know that a lot of our students that are going to school are struggling financially. And so we're able to provide that. And just because we provide that, I think that we have probably double the amount of students actually attending the graduation. I think if we weren't providing that, I think it would be hard to get them there. They're able to finally celebrate. A lot of them will talk about, well, my mom and my dad will like to see me, graduating or walk across the stage. And so we want as much as we can to just make up for what they did lose back in when they were in high school. We have grad night. We're able to arrange, and we take a bus and take some students to grad night. A couple of our staff chaperone, so they get that whole overnight experience at Disneyland. We have things like cookies and coffee for our students, and they come out and they're like, why are you guys doing this? Just because we appreciate you guys being here, and we appreciate that you're working so hard. And so that whole sense of letting them know that we know you're having to sacrifice to be here. We know that this isn't easy. And so we're always wanting to communicate that in different ways to them. We are, just like K-12 counselors, we provide services in all three domains. So we do college and career, academics, and social emotional. We will ask students what areas they want to learn about when it comes to like social emotional topics. Things like healthy relationships, which really was asked for. Domestic violence, and we titled it Healthy Relationships, is huge in our ESL department. And so they specifically asked for that. Our teachers let us know, hey, our students are asking for this. They're asking for presentations on things like communication. They're asking for what is mental health. In other cultures, they call it nerves. Oh, I just have really bad nerves. It's anxiety. So we give them, strategies on helping with their anxiety. What does it look like? How do you start teaching your children how self-care and mindfulness exercise? So we talk about this for yourself, but you can also do that with your kids. And so we try to incorporate as much as we can of those services on our campus, which I think, from what I understand, is very different compared to an adult school. And from what I understand in the past, it was academics. You come in, you get your high school diploma, your GED, and you go. And so our schedule, for example, we had to change our schedule because of our K-12 schedule. And so we knew that students would either not come or they would show up late if we didn't meet the K-12 schedule. So when the K-12 schedule changed, we then changed our schedule. So the focus is always on our students. What do they need? What's going to make it easier for them to get through this? What's going to make it easier for them to even get here? So we look at all those things. We do like formal dances for them. We do one at winter and one at the end of the year. And so they get all dressed up and they bring their partners. They're able to bring one guest. We had movie night. Some of our students aren't going to the movies with their kids. And so we had movie night. They were able to bring their blankets and bring their chairs. It was $3 for their ticket, for a hot dog, popcorn, and a drink. And so, they bring their 3-4 kiddos and they're able to have a really good time. And it was really neat to see how excited they were at having their kids with them and show them, hey, I go to school here. This is my school. And so you could see their sense of pride. It gives me the chills to think about it. It gives them the sense of pride, like, look at what mommy and daddy are doing. So when we do these presentations, some of them are school-wide initiatives, and then some are by department, depending on what they're asking for. And so if students are letting teachers know, what it is that they need more information on, or the teachers notice that there's a pattern of something that might be happening on our campus, then we go ahead and do a presentation. So for example, for a while there was a lot of mental health concerns and issues going on. And so we went in and did a presentation again on just all the wellness services and how what they needed to do to get a referral for a mental health provider. So out of those presentations, then the students actually come into our counseling department and ask for services. If we weren't doing those presentations, we probably wouldn't have half of those students coming in and asking for help. So it's us taking that initiative to let you guys know, hey, these are all the things that we have. We're located here. We're here to help you. And so then, once they see our face and see us out there, then they're able to, then they feel more comfortable coming on in. So once again, just making sure that our students feel valued, heard, welcome. Like Jose was saying, somebody comes from Las Vegas. She probably needed her GED for a job real quick, right? And so she was willing to travel 3.5 hours to come and take her test there. There's times when students will say, well, I'm having a hard time being here because I live in Apple Valley, which is like 45 minutes, or in Lancaster, which is an hour and a half. And so I'm always curious, counselors are sometimes nosy. And so I will ask, well, why aren't you going to school out there? Like, why do you come all the way over here? Like, of course, it's going to be hard to get here sometimes. And they talk about just the comfort level and how they feel when they walk through our doors. And we take pride in that because we've worked on it for a long time. It's now been 6 years. And so we're like, okay, now we're hearing from our students and we're seeing all of the fruits of our labor. And so once again, our administrator, our current principal used to be a counselor. Our vice principal, one of our vice principals used to be a counselor. And so I think just kind of that lens leads to looking at the whole student and not just meeting their academic needs. The other thing that is really, I think, different for our campus is the use of our staff. So working in K-12 for the last, for the first 19 years, you go onto a campus and people are like, that's not my job. I don't know about that. You got to go over there, whatever it might be, right? So on our campus, we believe that everything is everybody's job. And if you don't know that part or whatever they need, or you can't really help them, then you are going to walk them to the office, to the person that will be able to help them. So we don't say right over there around the corner. We walk them to the transition center. We walk them to the front office or whatever, to the assessment center, wherever it is that they need to go. Our staff, our classified staff, has a variety of roles. Jose was in school for a while. Now he's one of the teachers. And so they're able to see that, oh, he went to school and now he's a teacher. And that's the case with several of our staff. So we currently have a teacher who's also an academic advisor in the counseling office. We have a secretary who's also a teacher at night. We have a counselor who's a teacher at night. Jose is our technician who's also a teacher at night. So our students are able to see the same faces and see staff in different roles. Our administrators believe that opportunity should be given to our current staff first. So if we're hiring a nighttime teacher, they're going to ask our current staff, hey, do any of you guys have the certification to teach, and are you interested? And so it really is helpful for our students. So our student that might have an ESL question about their class can now ask Jose because they know that he's an ESL teacher. And so it's just really nice that everybody can help answer questions and that students aren't just walking away with, well, they couldn't help me. So we take pride in that and make sure that our staff realize that it's your job to get them the answer or to lead them to somebody who has the answer for them and can help them. Our classified staff know all about our wellness services, so they know what they need, how much it costs, how long the process takes. So it's not like just go to the counselor. They can answer, if I'm busy or the other counselor is busy, then they're able to go ahead and answer those questions. So with our 5,000 students, there's only 2 full-time counselors. I'm one of them, and then one other person. And so that's why we now have a teacher who in the afternoons is an academic advisor. So she helps a lot with our scheduling and just explaining the academics part. And then we are able to handle more of the social emotional things. I have students who come in crisis, and so they'll spend an hour with me. And obviously, there's other students walking through the door that need help. The way we're able to run our counseling department is one of us is always the counselor on duty. So one person does not have anything on their schedule the days that they are a counselor on duty. We had, so far this year, we've had about 10,600 students come through the counseling department. And so if a student is able to be seen right then and there, like great. If not, and they can wait and they'll make an appointment. But we make sure that appointments aren't made. For example, for me, it's Tuesdays and Thursdays because I'm the counselor of the day and I'm just taking walk-ins all day. And so that helps us kind of manage our schedules and make sure that whatever our students need, it's taken care of right then and there. 88% of our students who come into the counseling department do not have an appointment. Obviously, we know that when students need something, they need it now, especially our adult school students because they have so much going on in their life, right? And a crisis today may not be a crisis in 3 or 4 days. And so they've changed their mind about going to therapy or whatever it might be, right? So as much as we can, we want to make sure that we catch them right when they need us and that we're able to help them with whatever it is that they might need. So when he was talking about our math tutors, we have teachers who are teaching classes during the day. Some are teaching them in the afternoon, but when they're not teaching, they're providing individualized support to students. So our math teachers, the actual credentialed certificated teachers are actually providing individual support to our students during the time that they're not teaching. So our students who are struggling in math or struggling with English in our high school diploma program are able to see an actual credentialed teacher during different times of the week, sometimes in the morning, sometimes in the afternoon, because we want to make sure that if they can't come in the morning, they come in the afternoon. So we have it staggered so that they're always able to see a credentialed teacher if they're struggling with the subject. We have teachers on assignment. We have 2 of them, one in our ESL department and one in academics. And that teacher is, those teachers are used to coach our current teachers. Anytime we have a brand new teacher that's coming on board and hasn't been in adult education, she gets a full year of coaching with our TOSA, with our teacher on assignment. And so we make sure that the TOSAs are giving our teachers feedback, that they're walking into the classrooms, that they're helping them reflect on their teaching strategies, and there's just constant going conversations regarding growth for our staff. Our students are helped also by the TOSA. So the TOSA has certain days that she's working with staff, and then students also can access our TOSA by appointment to come in and get individualized help if they're just, you know, for some reason struggling and still not able to make our tutoring schedule or something like that. We have a lot of students who have learning disabilities who either don't have their IEPs anymore, don't know how to get them, and or they were never diagnosed or identified, right? And so luckily, one of our TOSAs is she has a special education credential, and so she's able to help those students and talk to the teachers about strategies in the classroom that'll help students who appear to have some type of a learning disability. And so we're really fortunate to have her. She's able to talk to students and making sure they have goals. So when are you gonna take your next GED test? How long are you gonna give yourself? A lot of times if you ask students, when I ask students, well, how long have you been here? And I'll look at their, we start having conversations about, you've been here 6 months and you haven't even taken one GED test. You've got a 240 on the classes. Like, what are we waiting for? And so they'll be like, well, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. And I'm like, well, how do you know you're not ready? Because you haven't taken the test yet, right? And so she does a really good job along with us on setting goals. Okay, you haven't done it yet. Let's just take it then just to see so you know what's on it. And so then they're like, okay, so now they think they're just taking it to see what's on it. Before you know it, they passed and I'm good. So it's really just that individual support. And she calls herself a cheerleader. She's like, a lot of times all I got to do is just be their cheerleader. And just that gets them going. So our staff is utilized in a variety of ways. We make sure that everybody's schedule while they're at work is just packed and they're always servicing students in some way or another. Yes. Well, remember when we were talking about what we do for our staff? That really brings up a lot of energy. So we did a door decorating contest for Christmas. And it's really neat to see. So the offices, the front office was a team, the counseling department was a team, the ESL department was another team. And so it's just friendly competition. Our administrators make sure that they do at Christmas and then at the end of the year, they do like a staff appreciation barbecue for us. And so they do a lot of things just to make sure that we know we're appreciated. In the counseling department, it's the registrar, the clerk, the academic advisor, a couple of us counselors, our administrator, her secretary's in there. And so we always celebrate each other's birthdays. We always celebrate each other's birthdays. We decorate for the holidays. So right now there's Easter decorations up. As soon as I get back, we're gonna, as soon as Easter's over, we're gonna take those down and we're gonna put graduation pictures of all of our students that are graduating in May. So they all will have it all around our whole office will be pictures of them in their cap and gown. Because when they first graduate, when they finish their credits or they pass all tests, they come in, they take a picture in a cap and gown. They ring a bell that we have. And so we take pictures of that. So all of May and half of April, they'll be able to see their pictures up on the wall. Some of them choose to take them home. Some of them leave them there. And so that energizes us, to look at how many graduates we have and how well they're doing. Our student stories, we're always sharing our student stories with each other. And that helps, I think, energize us to be like, oh, that's why I did it. Okay, that was a good story. Like, I can keep going for the rest of the week. So we're really big on sharing anything that comes through our door that is positive. I had a student who first came in September, and she's like, I've been here for years, girl. She's like, I got to do it this time. And I'm like, yes, you do. And she started telling me her story. She had just gotten her kids taken away. She's like, this is the first time I'm clean. She's like, I was doing adult school while I was high and I was drunk. And so, just being non-judgmental, making sure that she knows that it's confidential and I'm here to support you no matter where you've been, where you're coming from. And so she's graduated. She got her credits. She was kind of giving up in December. She's like, it's been really hard and I'm really struggling and this social worker, And so I was like, okay, but you still don't have your kids back. So you need to hurry up and finish this so that when you get them back, you're done. That's one less thing for you to do. And so sure enough, we got her going again. Rosie or Tosa, was her little cheerleader and I was constantly having conversations with her. So of course, when she graduated, we were just like, this is such a big deal for you. And she had already shared with some of our staff what was going on. She'd shared like little bits here and there. And so everybody knew how big that was. So when she got ready to ring her bell, like everybody came out and was like cheering her on and just congratulating her and those types of things. So we're always sharing those stories. We're always making sure that people know, what the experience is for our students and that our hard work really is paying off and that our students appreciate it and that it's, going well. Like we're doing what we are intending to do and what we started 5-6 years ago, it's really happening now. So constant celebrations. And I'm telling you, what was it? Valentine's Day. So we have different little groups. So we have a staff, what is it called? The staff appreciation team, but I'm trying to think of the name of it. We have a group of us that are working on students activities and events like the movie night, the dances, all that, right? Student Life. So we have a group called Student Life, and then we have another group that's just for staff. And then we have a safety group and things like that. So we realize that people do get burnt out if they have to be included in everything, right? And so we were able to pick up on strengths. Like some of our teachers have a lot of energy and they have great relationships with our students. So we involve them in our Student Life Committee. Committee was the word I was thinking about. So we involve them in that. Some staff don't care to be involved in any of that. And so if you don't care to, and that's fine. But if you want to, come and join us. And so we'll do things like that. There's going to be a car show to raise money for scholarships soon. And there's a group of staff that are into cars and into motorcycles. And so they're a part of that. I am not. And so we're just kind of picking and choosing and letting our staff participate in whatever they have time for and whatever they enjoy. We've had just ice cream for our staff before. For Valentine's Day, they brought donuts and did some little logo in our staff room, you're sweet. We want something with the donuts and stuff. I think they've done things where they've done roses. Right now I have a bunch of Mother's Day cards that for Mother's Day, we're going to give moms on our campus to make sure that they realize that it takes a lot of work and we appreciate you doing your job here when you still have a responsibility to go home to. So just making sure we're always acknowledging everybody's hard work. Because let's be real, if you know you're appreciated, you're going to work that much harder, and you're going to really want to do it. If you don't feel appreciated, it's really hard to go above and beyond. And so that's something that our administrators have really zoned in on. And so they do a really good job of making sure that us as staff were taken care of. And in turn, then we can take care of our students. If we're filled, right? If our cup is filled, then we're going to be able to fill somebody else's cup. Yeah. Any other questions? Yes. So we have funding just like everybody, like, just everybody else. We don't have any funding out of the normal. We are part of our our group of the community college and the adult schools. I can't remember what it's called. The word consortium. So we're the biggest in our consortium. Yeah, we're the biggest in our consortium. And so we've asked for extra money. And sometimes they'll say yes, and sometimes they'll say no. So for example, when we did the cookies and coffee, I paid some, my administrator paid some. And so sometimes we do that. Our wellness services, we have no cost for any of that. They're on our campus, they're providing services. It's an MOU that is signed between the community agency and our district. And so because I said it's mutually beneficial, right? So our health plan navigator who's on our campus, they will find resources even if a student doesn't have that health plan. But if the student does have that health plan, now they're providing case management type of services, and there's a way they could bill for that. So they're benefiting as a community agency, and our students are getting their needs met on our campus. So we're not paying for any of the services that any of our community providers are providing. Yeah. Buses, yeah. So the buses in our city provide free transportation to college and K-12 students. They have decided they're not going to provide transportation to adult school students. So what we did is we made their ID cards to look just like K-12 cards. So their badges, our adult school students have a badge that looks like the K-12 badge. So So we are able to, just find little things like that. We had a conversation with the bus company, and they said that no, they couldn't include adult school students. And so we're getting ready to approach them again about talking about, no, these are high school students because they're working on their GED and their high school diploma. So they're high school students. So they're just a different age, but they're still high school students. Because if you're providing it for college students, so advocating for our students, advocating so that our students, and we have a bus stop like right on the corner. So yeah, and then like I said, everywhere that we have a community partner, there is a bus route that will get them there if they're not getting the service on our campus. So when the mobile unit goes there and sees our students, a lot of times, most of our students are walk-ins, once again, right? They don't plan ahead very far. So they'll be walk-ins, but then from there, they're able to pick them up as patients. And so if they need a follow-up, they can schedule it either at their clinic or they could schedule it the next time the mobile unit is going to be there. And so that's why they're willing to partner with us, because now they're gaining patients. And for us, it's like my student doesn't have to, be on a bus for 2 hours or an hour, whatever long, I don't know how long the bus route is, or they don't have to wait 3 weeks for an appointment. The maximum you're going to wait is 2 weeks because the mobile unit is here every 2 weeks. So I think our students have picked up on what bus drivers will let them on and what bus drivers won't. Because like sometimes the students will be like, well, they argue with me and they didn't let me get on, but this one does. So I just have to go at this time. I go on the earlier bus because that one does let me on. And so then I'll share that with the other students, right? So the 8 o'clock bus driver, they don't care what ID you have. They don't care that you're an adult school student. They're going to let you on. And so we're just able to constantly be sharing that information with
what I noticed, especially like with the busing system, if you look like you're in K through 12, they don't even bother you. But it's the ones that look a little bit older than, but like, you're not too sure, and those are the ones that I say, don't worry about it. This is the resources, this is the information. So what I did is I connected with two locations, and so what I do is, it's on a basic case, I'll say, come over here, I said, go talk to this person. This is the address, this is the map, this is the hours, this is when they're open, and let them know what the situation is. And they're pretty good at getting a hold of stuff. So that's good.
And when we're referring our students to when they're actually going to one of the agencies that is our partner, we will send them an email and let them know they're coming. So we don't, so they're expecting our student. Our student knows who to ask for. They know exactly where they're going. We talk to them about what kind of service it is that they're in the process of what it's going to take. As an example, we have our, not Loma Linda, but the other clinic, because it's a federally qualified clinic. There's a lot of paperwork that they have to fill out to get the mental health services, right? So the intake forms and all that, the consents, I think it's like 5 pages of it. And so knowing that a lot of our students wouldn't fill those out, one of our conversations with them was, who on your staff at the clinic can help our students fill them out? And so they were able to identify 2 staff that are always available that our students can call. And as long as I get them to sign the consent, they'll do the intake paperwork over the phone. And so just that, that kind of communication to make sure that, okay, I referred you, but I want to make sure you follow up on that service. So how are we going to make sure you get there? Our community resource worker actually just started in January as a result of just all these different needs that our students have in our partnerships. And so she is now also helping fill out those intake forms. Knowing that a lot of information on there is confidential, she'll ask the student, are you comfortable with me helping you fill it out? Otherwise, she'll make them an appointment with me, and then I'll help them fill it out. So once again, just using our staff in a variety of ways. And people quickly learn when they come onto our campus that if you're not going to be a team player, it's going to be really hard for you to stay here because you're going to look bad because everybody else is doing it. And so we have an amazing staff. We have an amazing staff. I'm not going to leave there unless I win the lottery, just because it's really neat to work with a group of people that really are there for the students, and that that's the number one focus, right? So we don't have very many people on our staff that I would say they're here to collect a paycheck. They truly believe in what they're doing. And so once again, that goes back to our staff being taken care of by our administrators. Yes. Oh, okay. So we have.
I got it.
Thank you. So we have a GED program, and then we have a high school diploma